Hey there folks, I'm welcome to the next 155 mile per hour Cup Tryouts. In this tryouts I am doing the Mercedes 300 SL W194 1952. In other words, the Mercedes 300 SL race car. So here's the parts and things you can do to the Mercedes 300 SL, and I'm just gonna say not a whole lot, but you can add some engine parts to it. So it's kind of weird because technically it's like a road car, but it also has race car, you know, attachment to it. It's really weird at the end of the day, but I would say it's an inline 6 with the M194. Really old motor, I gotta say. But this was basically the race car, and by the way, race car at first, by the way, for 300 SL. The road car didn't appear until much later. I will say, I think until like 1956 or so. So on, from what I last read in terms of the stuff and such. But yeah, 214 horsepower with 230.3 foot-per-pound torque, so a lot more torque than the horsepower is. Weighing just 2,381 pounds and 4.97 weight-to-power ratio. Now, as the thing goes, there's no wide body or even an engine swap, which I'm not surprised what I'm about to talk about in the next bit here. But for now, for the customized parts, there's technically not a whole lot you can do, but you can have the stock rims, or you can put some nice, better rims at the end of it. Because yeah, I will say, I wanted to keep this plain Jane at first, and then eventually customize it in the next ones. But for now, this is what it's going to look like. As I'm thinking. The terms I'm thinking, what I'm thinking is making it into like a bathtub or something, because this is also around the time of the 1950s. If you don't know much about the 1950s, most of the 1950s were bathtub kind of designs, because that's what they believed in aerodynamics back then. And this is one such case, a little bit. Yeah, you can definitely tell it's like a, and when I say bathtub design, flip a classic bathtub upside down and you'll see it. Basically. But yeah, overall, here's the tuning setup, which basically relays the suspension height and the frequency, because it is an oldie car, and camber angle. I did adjust that a bit more so it can get more grip and stuff, but there is a trade for that tad, but not a whole lot. But yeah, when you mess with negative camber, you lose more tire wear in the process. Now for power restrictor, I only did to 93, and here's the gears, so make sure to pause to copy those gears at the end of the day. And here's what basically has in the catalog, but yeah, no brakes, or no newer brakes or anything. That's always the weird part on some of these race cars, because even the Celica rally car has no race brakes here. It's just normal brakes. So yeah, that's gonna be a fun case, and probably a detriment to like some of these cars, because if they just so happen to don't have that, you're screwed out of luck. But yeah, off to straight to the race here at Eiger-Neumann. But yeah, the Mercedes 300 SL W194 is a 1952 Le Mans racing winner, which is really weird, because yeah, you would think, oh, surely they had pan cars back then, right? No, pan cars did not show up to the Group C. It was, or no, not, I wouldn't say Group C. I would say technically like the late 1970s. Like around when the Porsche 917K was that case for that. Because yeah, the 917K wasn't just a design, it was a revolution of what to push in the future for Le Mans. But to say though, the 300 SL was, you know, basically fundamentally a race car at first and road car later. So this came as a race car first for Mercedes, and their goal was to beat the Le Mans, which it did. But the thing is though, it didn't got first of that Le Mans track. It got first overall, but not first on that track. So technically, and the Mercedes, I want to say president or CEO, one of the higher ups, basically in charge of this at the end of the day, he didn't believe this was that much of a successful, because Mercedes was a perfectionist, a really big perfectionist back then. Even after the World War shenanigans and everything else, they were quite a perfectionist when it comes to these cars, and especially how fancy they look and such. Because they were just Rolls-Royce with a performance package at the end of it. That's basically what Mercedes was until, I want to say, around the, I hate to say, like maybe the late 70s, because I think that's when Mercedes kind of went to crap, or when they fall out of racing due to a massive accident with the Pacific Formula car that we also have in this game. But yeah, the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL race car is overall not a bad car. It's okay and such on that department. I say the acceleration's a bit lacking, but I'm also not surprised. It's 1952, for God's sake. Give it a break, man. It's like 70 years old, or 70 plus years old. But yeah, here's the other fun little fact to toss too. That the Mercedes 300 SL was not going to be a road car. This was just going to be a race car at first, until someone demanded that head to make a road car at the end of the day, and so they did eventually. So that's what led to the road car, the 300 SL, and just to say, yeah, the road car is a lot more superior than this. This was a startup of many things, I will say. And considering what kind of opponents it was dealing with back then. They had, like, I think the Maserati and an Alfa Romeo for opponents back then, of such. And we have those such cars, but I don't know if they're in the string of that, so to say. So that's the fun part when it comes to that. But yeah, the Mercedes 300 SL, basically a phenomenal hard-top race car, and that does shock me, because most race cars were convertibles, I will say. But no, this is one of the cases where the hardtop actually worked, because hardtop aerodynamically does functionally do things better than convertibles in some cases. Unless you're Audi. That's where it fails. So yeah, here we go with the best lap here. Let's see how good the best lap here. And it's, like I said, it's going to be a bit tad slower than the grade 4 car at the end of the day, but still not bad though. Hitting 109.502. Not bad at all. So that is hitting where the Viper grade 4 was at, which is the 109.571. However, I just realized, oh yeah, wait, we got best lap. So, and it beat the Viper on that one best lap right there. So let's see if it can beat the old NSX grade 4's time of 109.412. Yeah, eventually I'm gonna stop saying old times and stuff, and actually get back to proper times and stuff when I introduce another car in the beans. But I am gonna play safe and just showcase the next car for now. But yeah, when I say next car, probably for the next car of the next week, I am gonna do the Volkswagen grade 4 Scirocco within this week here though. I'm just not gonna throw in the preview though, because 1, I forgot, and 2, as I guess. But let's see around the roundabout here. As we hit 109.380, which is sitting right next to the Honda M1 2+4. And when I say that, the whole one. But yeah, 2+4 did the 109.248. Yeah, overall, technically not bad, didn't I dot? Because I still think the acceleration's a bit lacking. I would say a 6 out of 10 for the most part. It's about just okay, but not bad. Not slow or anything for the most part. But yeah, we're doing a second here. If there's any issues I can kind of describe when it comes to Mercedes SL here, I think it does get a tad loose, but that's really kind of it. Otherwise, it just has that low acceleration. That's really about it I can think of. Oh, and be careful of the brakes sometimes. Because yeah, while these aren't race brakes, you gotta be careful of the measures when it comes to braking the car, because you may have to brake a lot more than, you know, with race brakes applied, because you can't stick race brakes on this, because I'm not really sure why. Or these drum brakes, always kind of wondered about that. But yeah, Because yeah, drum brakes were still kind of a thing back then, so I always kind of wondered if that's the reason why, or that they're just old mechanical brakes of the rotor brakes at the end of the day. I'm not really sure on the history of that such, and nor understand why on earth you can't just switch the brakes to the race brakes at the end of the day when it's attached to wheels. But it might overhaul the whole wheel style of the car, I'm guessing, and that's my very big guess for that and such. In a 1 minute 35.097 there, which that is really slow, I'm just gonna say, because yeah, like I said, the acceleration is not really up to snuff, so I might have a problem on some momentum things in regards. So on a balanced track like this, so yeah, it's gonna have problems of such. Cause yeah, in terms of what it needs to beat the Daihatsu Copen RX, which the Daihatsu Copen RX hit 134.468, so not really great. Oh yeah, I think it has a case of understeer too, here too, because what's about to happen here? And we don't. Oh no, it's fine. Okay. Maybe I did on the other one. I might do on the other one perhaps. Because I know there's a point where I just drove off to the right a bit more than I should. On that part there. That might have been the first one. So yeah, let's see here if it's much better than that case, if it was. Yeah, 106.995. Get your dollar and dues today. Yeah, overall the Mercedes 300 SL race car, very interesting. Very interesting. You would think this would be the same to the road car. No, it's completely different. The road car is a lot quicker than this one is. I don't know if the motor is the same though in that department, or that it's a much more updated motor perhaps. Yeah, 103.376. Okay, beats the Copen. Thank God. Now it needs to beat the Cappuccino RX. Yeah, I just say I beat the Copen RX. So Copen RX is the Copen with the RX-7 motor. Cappuccino RX, which I think this is the old time by the way, is the minute 34.172. So yeah, that's how bad the Copen RX was to the Daihatsu Cappuccino RX by the way. So it's not great, Captain. It's not great. So let's see here if the 300 SL can outmaneuver the Cappuccino RX at the end of it. As we look at Mutter's wax cleaner stuff, yeah. Mutter's polishing wax cleaner stuff, yeah. I think that's. Yeah, that's always the big advertising you see. The other one's the VP racing there. It's 20 times for June Secco. Now about to go down to the iconic corkscrew, which I am kind of shocked that this track did not got a reverse layout where you actually go up it, because there are some games that do the opposite where there's a reverse layout of a second, and it's very interesting, I will say. And I assume not as dangerous as going down it, because like I said, the corkscrew has killed many people over the times and such. So and this is also used as a bike course, by the way. Very, very interesting in that regard. Well, let's see here, a minute 30, minute 32, minute 33, minute 34.269. Not good enough, Captain. It's good, but not that good. It's in at 14th place so far in terms of my roster. But yeah, Springtree has 16 cars. I feel like I'm missing a couple cars. Cause yeah, I tried to update this thing on my phone over time, other times and stuff. But however, to the south counterclockwise, and I think this is where it might shine the most a tad, because speed-wise, I think it's kind of a bit better as it hits 148 on this downcline straightaway of Tokyo counterclockwise straight, as thing goes. And considering it even shows it kind of here too, in like a minute, not a minute, but 143 miles per hour in that set. Yeah, overall, not bad. I'd say speed-wise, probably maybe 8 out of 10, because 148 is pretty quick. Because most Grade 4s I've tried so far, they hit like a minute, or not a minute, that's 100% minute. 145 miles per hour. So, Let's see how the speed hits here, just to ensure. Okay, I'm right. I'm usually kind of right sometimes. I'll say this, I'm usually 40-60 right. There's a case I'm mostly kind of wrong. You're wrong. Okay, here we go, hitting like a 142, 143, 145, 148, getting there. 140, come on, baby. Ensure, damn it, ensure, 148. There we go, right before I had to brake there. Because, yeah, like I said, the biggest other fundamental problem with the 300 SL is that you're going to have to brake sooner. Because it is an old car, and the other thing, you can't switch your brakes. If you're able to switch your brakes, I do wonder if this is going to be a much faster car. For this case, but because you can't, and I'm, like, again, I'm not sure why. I could have sworn this was in, like, the Hill, or Goodwood racing, matter of fact, because they drive a bunch of old cars, and I think this was one of them, or some kind of kit form of it, perhaps. Just to ensure, because here's the other biggest problem about the 300 SL I did not mention. This is a $20 million car. This, and you know what that means, right? Since I bought engine parts, I will either have to pay $20 million to reset this car, or just go get a new one. Which I'm just gonna say, go get a new one. You don't want to you know, turn around and, you know, just renew the car's motor and shit for that. That's stupid. So you're better off buying the road car, or someday buy this race car. And the best part, I'm just gonna say in advance, this race car does nothing in events. Because yeah, I will say, as a forecast of warning, it does not do anything. Not much. You would have to max the horsepower to even do something with this car at the end of the day. I say something loosely because it's probably not going to be that good to begin with. Because yeah, that's the biggest problem about this car. This is a $20 million ripoff of over-glorified racing strategy that does not need to exist on this car. When this car feels like it could be made within days. Especially when you look at the front of this car, and this car's front is way different compared to the road car. Because yeah, that was the biggest indication when I noticed what's different about the race car to the road car. Look at that front. That is one simple looking front. It looks like a soapbox front, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, $20 million, prepare to get ripped off on this vehicle compared to the Formula car that'll eventually come much later. For now, like I said, after basically this 155 mile per hour Cup Tryouts, I'm going to do the pedestrian ones, so, or the people's car, in other words, people's car tryout, the cars you would drive kind of nowadays. And I say nowadays loosely because they're definitely going to be modified to be faster than normally. It does say people's car is really weird when it hits 155, or they don't hit 155 at all. So here we go with the best lap. If we go around the last turn here and go down the straight, look at the cool lights. Yeah, that's the cool part about this track. The fact that it has cool lights like that, or that and being a long gun track. Like about 2 minutes 13.812. But yeah, that does not put it higher than like the grade 4s, but it's a lot better than Laguna Seca's case, and I would say somewhat, I don't know, technically, oh no, wait, I'm not take that back. Yeah, best, yeah, I really think the best was Tokyo counterclockwise. But yeah, as you can see here, I'm just looking through events, like, what on earth could this do? I don't think it's really doing anything, can it? Because there's really technically not much you can really do with it, because the problem is, it is considered a race car. It is not considered a road car at all. You can't even take it to this. Which, yeah, big problem, by the way. If you're going to do historic sports cars, I believe you should take that stupid road car moniker off on that. That's really stupid. I don't care what. This is not going to be faster than the road car. I'm just saying that now. The road car is definitely going to be way faster than this. But yeah, we are going to go to high speed ring. in the reverse layout. Doing 18 laps at the 9 fuel and 12 tire rate. This thing goes. But yeah, overall, what to think of when it comes to Mercedes 300 SL? I don't think it's a bad car. I think it's an okay car. It's just also a weird car too. Cause like fundamentally, like I said, it's kind of slow. It's like maybe like 112 miles per hour on the higher northern climb. While hitting 148 on the speed bus. But yeah, this car's aerodynamics is really good. Because yeah, the bathtub design does work for that department. It was just the motor that's lacking, I would say. And it's, you know, the older suspension and not having any race brakes would be a really big one for that department. But I do got a time here. Because I did do it on a time for the Dragon Trail race, because this is what I'm going to basically do from now on for the test how good the car is on the same laps and then the same tire percentage burns and stuff. It does 29 minutes, 23 seconds, and 414 seconds, or milliseconds, I should. Which, in other words, is kind of not bad in comparison to something like the, let's see, I can't say that one, because that one's too slow. Where, because I know I did one, yeah, here's a funny case, the Honda M1, it beats the Honda M1 RS really bad in comparison. Or not really bad, but somewhat better, I would say. Where the Honda M1 hits 29.36, this hits 29.3. So, and then upon doing the first section of laps, it got to the 8th lap before I had to pit, with a tire burn of 1/8 left. So it's possible you could do a 9th lap with it, but I will say that's very stingy, and I don't see a point of doing that at that point. Once you basically pass the 8th lap, you're kind of good on the 16 laps, you know, so you might as well pit at that point, just to get the better momentum for that time there. And then the fuel burn of 1 out of 25, because it was almost gone, so yeah, you know what, I take that back, it's going to have to be the 8 laps, because the fuel burn, surprisingly the fuel burn and tire burn is pretty balanced overall for this car, with the lean of 1. But yeah, I gotta mention the lean sometimes, because I will note that lean of 1, and since I mentioned 1 out of 25, you may have to lean to 2 just a little bit for some section, a little bit. And that matters. But yeah, so you're probably noticing here for this custom race that the opponents are much different than what they usually are. That's because when you drive certain cars like these, or like the Skyline GTR there, because yeah, speaking of, hey look, Power Pack cars. Because yeah, some of the Power Pack cars are tied to this selection. Because yeah, I just said Custom Race has 2 different selection of, well, I won't say 2, I would say like technically more than that. But depends on what car you drive, you end up seeing these kind of opponents. So if you drive some kind of old-timey car like a Shelby Daytona, the Ferrari 250 GT, for example, you will see opponents like these, where you see the pace cars. Because yeah, if you want to know where the pace cars are at, they're in this selection. And the bad part is you cannot pick this selection whatsoever, because as the saying goes, the custom races is very limited of the things you can kind of do. Because they really didn't went out of the way to do the extra miles on other fun ideals I could think that they could do. Like example, apply a custom race for this one, apply a custom race setting for this one. So it'd be kind of cool if they set up some scenarios in the custom race, or just, you know, take the opponents from those events and apply it to that custom race. Like you can pick whatever sort of opponents you could do and stuff like that. That'd be really cool if they let you do that. But I know they ain't gonna do that. And especially how sticky Sony has been, I wouldn't be surprised if this company is even more stickier about things anymore. Although, I mean, what's gonna be deceiving, and considering I see two two of the Tom Chaser cars and one electric car, which is Ioniq 6N. But that's such. And then I'm trying to remember the fourth one. I can't remember the fourth one. There's like 4 cars coming. Even though the bad part is gonna have to still wait a good mile, and we waited 2 months so far. It's the worst part. But yeah, they've been doing per month, and now it seems to slowing down and doing 2 months, which I'm also not surprised because how fucked PlayStation is right now. Even though they did it to themselves, I'll just say. And they rightfully deserve it for the actions they are proceeding and the actions they are going down into at the end of it. Because I'm not gonna uphold them that. I am no defender. I am not gonna defend that shit. I just play the PlayStation because so far this is the console I tied to at the end of the day, and sooner or later I'm gonna have to break out of the chains and probably be a PC gamer or something like that in the far future. But for now, this is all I can kind of do. But that sucks. Until I get things going and stuff, because eventually I need to start doing more. And when I say start doing more, that probably means I'm probably going to be doing less video recordings, because eventually my time of doing these is probably not going to be much any longer. My exception to that, if I start getting views and stuff, well, I'm not going to beg. I'm not going to beg. That's not my doing. That's such. But yeah, if you want to important talk, that's kind of like one of the important talks to me at the end of the day. I just kind of just want us to try to make content and make what it is. Because I'm not going to rely on people to get to where I'm at the end of the day. I want to do what I felt like I got earned to do at the end of the day. And this is one of those cases I felt like I wanted to do such. But yeah, it's very interesting on this opponent roster, as you can see here. I'm scrolling through. Because yeah, we got the Honda 2. If you actually, yeah. So they are called 2 and 4s. Okay, so because yeah, it's called 2+4 or the 2 and 4. It's really weird on that because yeah, one case they're called 2+4, or another case they're called 2 and 4s. Which is it, guys? Holy crap! That confused the fuck out of me. Holy fuck! But yeah, it is kind of cool though seeing the Skyline GTRs, because yeah, you technically do not need the power pack in order to see the opponents. If you ever want to see the opponents, you just drive an old-timey car. If you want to see like the Porsche rally cars and stuff, you need to drive a slower old-timey car, I will say. Because yeah, I hit. Because yeah, I will know, I forgot to mention something on that setting. I also slapped it on sports, I want to say sports soft tires. And the reason why is because you can race the former car as an opponent. And no. Because I'll just say this, if I had the former car in this event, he would destroy me, personally. And the best part, that's the only opponent that gets switched out for this case. And the other best part, the opponents love picking that one too. So you'll mostly end up seeing 5 former cars, or you'll see 2 and 4s, a bunch of 2 and 4s, because for some reason they just can't separate the choices on the opponents at the end of the day. Because I would like it if Gran Turismo was able to configure with that and make it where the opponents, what's the best way to say it? The opponents would actually pick something unique instead of picking the same exact car. That would be another thing I would say to do for the custom racing in a nutshell. Because then there's a bunch more pacer cars. Because then, where's the Porsche one at, for example? Because yeah, that's also where you can see the Porsche pacer car too, if you haven't drove the pace car yet. Yeah, we got the GTR safety car, got the M4 safety car, got the Mercedes. Oh shit, I forgot to mention about the 300 SL, what the SL stands for. It's super light. And it's literally called that, by the way. A lot of people thought it wasn't called that. It turns out in the papers, upon the process of making that car, it is called super light. Just like the 911 Lechbach, which I think is technically called super wedge, or super wedge. Which, not gonna lie, that sounds pretty cool, super wedge. Which means it's a light car. So yeah, that's why the acceleration is kind of a problem with that car, because it's a light car. So 2,300 and some pounds there. Yeah. So basically, it's just technically me versus the 2 and 4 cars, which they're kind of fast, because as you can see on straightaways sometimes they would hit about 175 here if I've not shown it yet or not throughout all this, I will say. Oh wait, yeah, there it is right here. 175, holy crap. But then again, not surprised, the 2 and 4 motor is freaking sick. It is a pretty cool ass freaking motor, especially many K cars end up using that motor, because then the M1 was one of them, and such. But yeah, overall, when it comes to Mercedes 300 SL, in terms of tier of the endurance and sprint wise, I would say a C. It's kind of just there. But endurance wise, since it hits 8 laps, that's kind of good. So I would say B for the most part. So overall, I would say a B for this car. This car hits kind of the spots, but not quite. But I will say it's phenomenally kind of quicker than some of the K car opponents thus far. Yeah, I even have another car in the future, which I'll just tease this one since it's not on the roster just yet, which is the Renault R8 Gordini. But yeah, that one's gonna be a fun one when I get to that, because that one was kind of a mess, I'll just say. Just in advance, everything goes. But yep, I'll be doing the Volkswagen Scirocco Grade 4 within this week as well, and hopefully some episodes of Ghostmaster too, because I gotta make some episodes of that too. But yeah, we're getting pretty close to getting Ghostmaster done. Once I get Ghostmaster done, I'm thinking of doing Spyro 2 next. So far, that's like the highest percent so far. It could be a chance of something else, but I'm not sure what to think more than that. And then eventually, in some time in the future, I might do Rouge Galaxy. I'm thinking. Might as well play old games, because new games are gone to shit unless you're indie or AA. Even though apparently there's been confirmation of hit and run in the future, but I don't know how far in the future on that. So that's ain't goes, because apparently Matt Groening showed up during the Simpsons movie 2, and someone said, "Bring us Simpsons hit and run," and he said, "Soon." So there's a possibility. There's a 60% possibility on that, I would say. Oh yeah, you also get to see the Mercedes Hammer. I think that's technically what it's called, the 300 SEL, and there was the nickname the Hammer. The reason why it's called Hammer, because that was during the times when Mercedes had heavy cars, like Rolls-Royce almost heavy cars. Like almost as bad as Rolls-Royce heavy cars. Besides the luxury looks, I will say, but that's really about it. But because yeah, like I said, ever since that racing incident with the former car, Mercedes just stopped doing racing for a good long while within the years. It wasn't until Group C and AMG there that helped Mercedes get back on the foot where they're supposed to be in terms of racing at the end of the day. Because, like I said, Mercedes basically dropped their performance altogether and just stopped doing light cars and do those boxy Mercedes that you see right there. Which is not a bad thing considering what AMG did, but the thing is, you had to modify the car to even get that performance, and it still weighs like 4,300 pounds, by the way. So that is a heavy ass Rolls-Royce of a Mercedes car. So yeah, it wasn't until Sauber that helped Mercedes got back to the grounds of racing that it needed to be. So yeah, that's basically overall the race here, as you can see here, with the Honda 2 and 4 is giving chase. And I feel bad for the Skyline here on the far left. Poor Skyline. But he did give chase though. And considering he's wearing racing hard tires too, because yeah, that's another crazy thing about the Skyline too. But yeah, that basically wraps up for this race in a nutshell. So until then, next time people, for the next car, as you can see here is the Renault Megane Grade 4, which I'm definitely doing vinyl work for this one. So So until then, people, I'll see you guys all next time. You guys take care and ciao. I hope you like what you've seen here. Take care, folks.